The illusion of safety. The park was quieter than usual. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the cracked pavement. I had returned to this place, the bench that had become a strange meeting point between my present and my future. But today felt different. There was an uneasy stillness, the kind that sits in your stomach and twists for no reason. I didn't know if he would show up today or if I would be left to my own thoughts, with no guidance. And then, as if on cue, he was there, my future self, sitting beside me, calm and collected, as though he had all the time in the world. "You've been thinking again," he said, not looking at me, but out toward the horizon. "About what we talked about." I nodded. "I've been trying to focus, trying to cut out the distractions like you said. But there's something else, something that keeps creeping in." He turned to me, his expression unreadable. "What is it?" I sighed, running a hand through my hair. "It's comfort. I want to push forward, but the familiar feels safe. My life isn't bad. There's no crisis. Things are fine. And part of me wonders, what if this is enough?" For the first time since I'd met him, his expression darkened. He leaned in slightly, his gaze sharp. Comfort is a dangerous thing. It lulls you into thinking you're safe, when in reality, it's the slow death of your potential. You're not safe. You're stagnant. His words hit like a cold wind, but I wasn't ready to accept it. "I don't understand," I said, my voice growing defensive. "What's wrong with being comfortable? I don't need to be a billionaire or some world-changing figure. Maybe I just want a good life, a safe life." His gaze never left mine. "Is that really what you want? Or is that the voice of fear speaking?" I opened my mouth to respond, but something inside me hesitated. I had spent so much time trying to convince myself that I was content, that my life was good enough. But deep down, I knew the truth. The comfort I clung to wasn't fulfillment. It was fear, dressed up as satisfaction. "You think you're playing it safe," he continued, his voice hardening. "But what you're really doing is staying small. You've built a cage out of your comfort, and it's keeping you from becoming everything you're capable of." I swallowed, the weight of his words settling into my chest like lead. "But what if I try and fail? What if I lose everything?" His eyes narrowed, and in an instant, the calm demeanor shattered. He stood up abruptly, his voice rising with an intensity I hadn't expected. "And what if you die tomorrow?" he shouted, his voice cutting through the quiet of the park like a knife. I froze, my heart pounding. The shock of his words sent a jolt through my body, and for a moment, everything stopped. "What?" I stammered, unable to form a coherent thought. He stared down at me, his face a mix of fury and urgency. "What if you die tomorrow? What if this is your last chance? What if all the comfort you've been clinging to is ripped away from you in an instant, and all you're left with is regret?" I stared at him, my mind racing. His words had shattered the comfortable bubble I had wrapped myself in. The thought had never crossed my mind. Death, finality, the abrupt end to everything. But now it was all I could think about. "You're living like you have all the time in the world," he continued, his voice still sharp but quieter now. "But you don't. None of us do. And every day you waste hiding behind comfort and fear is a day you'll never get back." I felt the world tilt, the ground beneath me shifting in a way that left me dizzy. He wasn't wrong. I had always lived as though there would be time later, time to take risks, time to chase dreams. But what if there wasn't? What if I had been fooling myself this whole time? "You've been playing it safe," he said, sitting back down beside me, his voice softer now but no less intense. "But safety is an illusion. Life is unpredictable. The only thing you can control is how you use the time you have." I was silent, the weight of his words settling over me like a suffocating blanket. I had never considered that the time I thought I had might run out sooner than expected. I had always imagined there would be a perfect moment to take the leap, to chase after something more. But now, I wasn't so sure. What do I do?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He looked at me, his eyes searching mine for a moment before he spoke. "You stop waiting. You stop living like time is something you can save for later. The moment you're in right now, that's all you've got. If you want to become me, you need to act like it. You need to start living with urgency." "But how?" I asked, my mind still reeling from the shock of his earlier words. "By embracing discomfort, by recognizing that every moment of hesitation, Every decision to stay comfortable is a moment lost. You need to step into the unknown, take risks, and stop hiding behind the lie that comfort equals safety. I nodded, though my heart was still pounding. His words had shaken something loose inside me, something I hadn't even known was trapped. I had spent so long playing it safe, convincing myself that I was doing the right thing, but now I saw the truth. Safety wasn't real. It was just another way to stay small. Look around you, he said, gesturing to the empty park. This world doesn't wait for anyone. You can't afford to wait for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity. You have to create those moments for yourself. I stared out at the park, the quietness of it now feeling oppressive, like a reminder of how much time I had already wasted. You've crossed paths with greatness before, he said, his tone softer now, more reflective. You grew up on the same road as men who built legacies. But legacies aren't built from comfort. They're built from the willingness to step into the unknown, to face fear head on, and to keep going even when you don't know what the outcome will be. His words rang in my ears, louder than the silence of the park, louder than the fear that had held me back for so long. I didn't have time to waste. I'll do it, I said, my voice steadier now, more certain. I'll stop waiting. I'll take the risk. He smiled, but it wasn't the same calm smile I had seen before. This one was different, prouder, fiercer. Good, he said, standing up once again. Then you're one step closer to me. And with that, he disappeared into the fading light, leaving me alone on the bench. But this time, the silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was filled with possibility. The illusion of safety breaks the comfortable rhythm of the story, introducing a jarring, abrupt moment that forces the protagonist to confront the reality of life's unpredictability. The shock value in this chapter pushes the character to realize that safety, as they know it, is an illusion, and that living in the comfort zone is akin to wasting time. This realization brings about a powerful shift in mindset, driving the protagonist toward urgency, action, and embracing the discomfort that leads to growth.